so that you can join us live for another Friday lunchtime episode of Loving Relationships with Women of Color. So, you know how educated women of color are all too often socially considered to be the least likely to have a healthy, sustainable, romantic partnership? Well, what I do is I help those of us who are struggling with our love life attract an equal and create the loving relationship that I believe is our birthright. Hey, sweet babies, I'm Candice, and let me tell you, I've been where you are. For years, I was unclear about my love life and trying to achieve society's idea of a romantic relationship, whether it was my family's, the churches, the millions of romance novels that I read throughout high school, none of which got me anywhere but unhappy with my love life. Basically, it took abuse, grief, and homelessness for me to learn how to let go of control and be guided to transform my love life. I broke free from those struggle love cycles and created a love life that I love, that loves me back. And now I'm here to guide you to do the same. So I want you to join me on this journey from feeling disappointed in your relationship history to madly in love, from broken and guarded to whole and happy. I'm here every week, live every week, sometimes like today with an amazing guest. But I don't want you to just watch. I want you to listen. I want you to comment, interact, and engage with us. Be part of the conversation. So we talk a lot here. Y'all who've been here before, you just got to get in where you fit in. If you have something to say, whether you're on YouTube, LinkedIn, or Facebook, leave us a comment. And if we don't respond live, we definitely will come back and respond later. So let's get started. I'm so excited because today's special guest, her name is Janie Charlot, and she's a family nurse practitioner, a transformational coach, and author of Capacity to Love and Awakening to Unconditional Love. So, drawing on her own transformative experience, the book unveils love at its deepest level. So, we're going to have a good conversation because this is a girl after my own heart. Janie is a powerful leader and innovator in the health and wellness industry. And with her unique background and experience of 20 plus years in the healthcare industry, she understands the important impact of taking care of the whole person, body, mind, and spirit. She's also the creative behind MP's Hired Health and Weight Management, which focuses on a holistic approach to health and wellness. So they provide individuals, businesses, and communities with the necessary tools, education, coaching, and plans to gain and maintain a life of good health and balance, which is so, so important. So let me bring Janie up on stage. Come on up here, my love. Let me unmute you. Welcome, Janie.
Hey there. Hey there. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you all the way from Atlanta. How are we doing today?
I am great. I am great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to this conversation. I love talking about love.
Yeah.
So it should be easy and effortlessly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I had decided to title the show "What Unconditional Love Does to Your Body," because as soon as I don't know if you remember when I put out the post and I want to guess, as soon as you got in touch and I saw the title of your book, I was like, this is something we definitely have to delve into, because for myself, it's been such an important journey. And I think that this topic is both sensitive and it's exciting. And in my mind, there's no more evident expression of self-care than the way we perceive and take care of our bodies. And so that combined with unconditional love, I feel like your whole brand and the things that you do, it's just really, really important for us to deeply understand that.
Yeah. All love stems from self-love. And I think that we have been programmed to look for love outside of ourselves. And we have to go within ourselves to find that love. And I think when we have been looking outside of ourselves, it has been the biggest cause of our affliction and our suffering.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you think that is? Talk about that, because that's one of my favorite topics. Looking for love in all the outside places.
Yeah. So it really takes a deep understanding of who you are, first of
Yeah.
all, on every level. So mind, body, and spirit. And I tell people you have to know thyself. It's so important to know thyself. Otherwise, you will succumb to the identity of what everybody else is telling you that you are. So you have to know who you are. right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's a whole journey in itself.
Yeah.
And when you understand that you are pure, unconditional love at the core of your being, and you just have to allow it. There's nothing you have to do. You don't have to
Yeah.
earn it. You don't have to, beg for it. It's who you are. You just have to allow it. You have to
Yeah.
accept it and surrender to it.
Yeah. Why do you
Yeah.
think it's something that people so often resist? Because I even like when I first started using the phrase unconditional love as a love coach, I was always very like careful about it because I got a lot of pushback. I mean, even if I would post something that had unconditional love
Mhm.
in it, people would be like, nobody loves anybody. I had a therapist tell me one time, I was interviewing her. She's like, there's no such thing as unconditional love. Nobody loves anybody unconditional. I don't even love my kids unconditionally. And I was like, really?
Wow.
Right.
Now, I will say that we have to build our capacity to love.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, but let me take it back. When we are born, we are pure spirit. All right. When
Mm,
you are a newborn baby coming out of your mother's womb, you are pure spirit. You are programmed the moment you come into this world. The moment the doctor slaps you on the butt, it's like, there goes the first cry and suffering, right? So you're
mm,
programmed in your family with your parents. You're given a religion, you're given a race, you're given a gender, you're given a culture, you're given all these things. This is not how you came here. You
yeah.
were given these things. But on a spiritual tip, I want everybody to understand that you come here to learn. This is an earth classroom. So
Yeah.
you're given all these things so that you could experience the things that you're not, so that you could actually come back to who you really are.
Mm. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And that's why I said it's deep, it's a journey, and you have to understand that you are multidimensional. We are not just the physical body, we're not just the physical world. We're
Yeah,
mental, we're emotional, but most of all, we're spiritual. We're
yeah,
spiritual beings having a physical experience we call life. And that's why I said you have to know thyself first, because if you don't understand this basic understanding of who you are, you're going to say, there's no way you could love unconditional,
yeah,
because you only know yourself as a physical person. You only
right.
know yourself as your titles and all the identifiers that you claim to be. I'm a mother, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm this, I'm that. You're none of that.
Yeah,
You're none
yeah,
of that. You're
yeah.
pure spirit.
So let me ask you this question, because we were talking earlier about family placement. You said that you're the youngest in your family. What was there something in particular that started you on this journey of discovery around all of this? Is this something that you feel like you've always inherently known? Like what has you in this conversation?
That's a great question. I am the youngest, and from a very young little girl, I think I was just awakened to who I was, because I grew up in a small town in Louisiana, not much opportunity, kind of impoverished, right? I
Mm,
knew deeply that I had to leave. I had to
mm,
escape this environment. I knew already at a young age that I had to use my mind and my brain to do it. So and then my mother was a single woman. She made about $9,000 a year,
yeah,
raising four children. We
yeah,
were in government housing. We had, at sometimes we had food stamps. I mean, all of that. I knew that I had to work hard to escape this vibration. I knew
mm,
that very
yeah,
young.
yeah,
There was a voice that always told me, use your brain, use your mind. I was a cheerleader in high school, but I wasn't going to go and get an athletic scholarship. I knew
mm,
that.
yeah.
I knew I had to use my mind.
Yeah, I got you. So out of that, like that desire to use your mind, did you know? Because I know for me, my whole getting into this conversation about around growth and self-love and self-understanding, I think, I was raised in the church, so there was a certain idea that I had of it. Like I'd heard from the Bible, know thyself and all of that, and how important love is. But I also think that, in Christianity and in the Christian church, especially the Black Christian church, a lot of what we learn is that we are lowly, we are sinners, and that it's about the worship, the patriarchal worship. And I think we kind of missed the mark a little bit. I know that's a whole nother that's a whole nother
Yeah.
podcast.
And
But
that,
I think, go ahead, what are you gonna say?
no, go ahead.
So I think for me, it took a little while. I had to get into my adulthood for a while with the framework that I was raised with, trying to manage and navigate life with that before I started to understand that there is something beyond, just what I've been told is my religion, and what I've been told is the way to be a lady, and how I should be in relationships based on what I'd seen. Like I had to go through some things before I got to a point where I was like, this can't be it.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were programmed. You were programmed into, Christianity and believing XYZ, right? I'll say that in my upbringing, I was not heavily indoctrinated with religion. In my home, my mom spoke love. She spoke love. We
Nice.
didn't have a lot of material things, but we're going to operate in love in this home.
Oh, I love
And
that.
you and your siblings are going to get along. You're going to look out for each other. You're going to love each other. If something goes wrong, you're going to fix it right now. We're not going to have this family drama. So we really, really operated that way, right? We didn't go to church every Sunday. We didn't do any of that, but we had morals, we had ethics, and we had love. And my mother had only one sibling, her brother. And I had never seen two siblings get along so well. These two, they loved each other and they spoke about it every day. And my uncle, I mean, he always talked about love. You got to love from the bottom. You got to love each other. And that was programmed. So I understood that, hey, you may not have all the material things, but if you have this energy within you, you can create whatever you want.
Absolutely. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Yeah. And, growing up, we love each other. But when I got out and I came from under my mother's covering and had to go to college and get things done, when the real world hits you, it's like, I have to put this armor up. This is what I have to use. This is how I have to maneuver through this world. And it has really, it has taken me, I've gone deeper into what that really means.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, like as you grow and shift and change and are building the things that you do. Like I love the work that you do around health and wellness. I know I titled you on the flyer as a health and wellness innovator. I think that's how you described yourself, which I think
Yeah.
is fantastic. Yeah, because I do think that at the base of, one of the most important things at the base of self-love is the ability to express it by taking care of our health, right? Like taking good care of ourselves. So how did you go on the journey of health and wellness innovator? Because I know you started as a nurse. You're a nurse practitioner, right?
Yeah. So when I decided to go to college, again, that was not a path that was seen. My siblings, they took different paths, right? I had one cousin that had done a traditional 4-year university. So I didn't see a path. Like I had to create the path. I did have my sister. She was a nurse. She was an LPN at the time. And she did, I think, a technical path, right? She was like, why don't you go? Because I was 18, getting ready to graduate. And I was like, what do I want to study? I have no idea. I knew I had to go, but I didn't know what path. She said, why don't you go into the medical field? I said, okay, So I actually started out in pharmacy, and that didn't fit. It didn't work. I switched to nursing and it came very easy. But what I understood was that nursing allowed my intuitive skills and my compassion and my empathy to really, really come out. And nursing became easy. And then I went back, of course, and became a nurse practitioner. But the way we do healthcare also has to change.
Yeah.
Okay. We have to teach people what true healing is. And I wanted to do that on my own terms.
Yeah.
I have worked for big healthcare systems here in Atlanta. And when I went through, another spiritual journey, a part of that was leaving full-time employment and starting my own business.
Wow.
So because I wanted to align my entire life in this vibration of love and healing.
Yeah.
I couldn't have one foot in and one foot out.
Right.
And we try to do that. We try to juggle as long as we can. But I understood that if I'm going to be successful, I have to put all of my energy in one direction.
Yeah.
And so I aligned my business with love at the foundation.
Yeah. So
And
talk about that a little bit, like the specifics of, because I totally agree with you. I mean, I definitely believe that Western healthcare has a very strong air of sick care, right? It's like they, Western and underlying, it's not, I'm not an anti-vaxxer or anything like that. Like I
yeah,
believe in certain scientific things, right? But I think that the underlying thing is that, it's a business, it's an industry, right? So the longer we're sick, the more money the business makes. So what are some specific things that had you say that, health and wellness is the direction I want to go? Was there something that you dealt with yourself around? Because I can tell you, I've had disordered, dysfunctional eating most of my adult life. And was there something for you that said, I really want to help people with this out of, coming from a loving space?
So as a registered nurse, I worked in a hospital setting. And it was acute care. And I mean, people were sick. And I mean, there was days that I would pray that everybody stay alive on my shift. I just want to walk out and everybody stays alive. And the way we were working, I mean, you had 6 to 7 patients. You were the go-to person for everything. The family, MRI, X-ray, the doctor, you had to bring them water and lunch and everything. And I was like, something's wrong because of the way I felt when I would come home. I was tired and I was in my 20s, and I would look out at the older nurses and I would be like, there's no way I'm going to be doing this until retirement. I knew that. I knew that. And then a year in, I went back for my master's to be a nurse practitioner and to give me more control over the destiny of how I wanted to heal and help people. Because I was following doctor's orders, giving medicine, just really a machine inside of a hospital setting.
Yeah. And there's a lot of like,
there's no education. There's no, you're just keeping people alive. And sometimes it is a revolving door.
And like having to follow the regulation, even if it went against
all of that.
What you'd actually like to do.
All of that. And, it was just not for me. I just knew early on that, but it taught me a lot. I learned how to manage stress. I learned how to perform quickly under pressure. I learned time management. You have to manage your time when you're on a 12-hour shift. One patient go wrong, your whole day could go wrong. So I learned a lot of skills that I took on the outside of the hospital.
Gotcha. And so tell us about that, because you started a business, right?
Yeah. So it is called NP's Hired Health and Weight Management, Nurse Practitioners Hired Health and Weight Management. And the reason why I focus on weight management is because obesity is actually considered a chronic disease in our country. It is actually up there as a health disparity, just like smoking is. So I saw that, and I loved, in my personal life, I loved working out. I love eating healthy. I love learning about nutrition. I didn't come from that background. Of course, in a small town, it was really about making ends meet. We didn't have nowhere to work out. We didn't learn about eating healthy. We ate according to the culture. In Louisiana, as you know, it's a lot of culture there. So I had to unprogram myself. So as I saw other people suffering diabetes, hypertension, cancer, heart attacks, strokes, I'm like, because they don't have the education. They don't know. So they're going to the doctor, getting diagnosed, taking the medicine, and it's just like this, but nobody's teaching them, hey, stop eating that way. It causes
Yeah.
inflammation.
Yeah.
Hey, go work out. Hey, keep your mind positive.
Yeah.
All of that. So it allows me to, I don't want to say counterculture, but it allows me to help people in an authentic
Mm.
way.
I love that. And what I was going to say about that too is that I think, and I want to get to talking about sort of the overcorrection of how, the like we were talking about, Western health has made it such a business, and how in order to counter that, we do kind of have to take responsibility for our own. And I love that you represent ways that we can do that. But before I do that, Deannis, hi Deannis, I haven't talked to you in so long. She says, love is our lighthouse. It guides us through the storms of our lives. It sheds light on our path forward in life, in business, and in relationships. Absolutely. You're absolutely right, Deanna. Thank you for sharing that, sweetheart. But what it makes me think of, and this is going to sound very Gen X when I say it, because I do believe in the body positivity movement. Like when we talk about unconditional love, I believe that body positivity is an offshoot of that. Like let me love myself no matter what. My only thing about it is that there's an overcorrection in that I think sometimes people don't necessarily know how to associate self love and self acceptance with how I self care, how I care for myself, right? So I can love myself at any size, I can love myself at any weight, but if my weight and what's going on in my body is reflective of not taking care of myself, am I truly loving myself? Which is the question that always comes up for me, because I come from a place of believing that we're beautiful at any size. Like it's not, we've been told a bill of goods that you have to be a certain size to be cute
Right.
or whatever. I don't believe that. But I do believe, especially at 51 years old and someone who's gone up and down with my weight my whole adult life, when you carry a lot of extra weight and inflammation, you get to a certain age and that's not okay anymore. Like
Right.
you stop being able to physically do the things that you want, your heart wants to do. So how do
Right.
you sort of navigate that with your clients in the space of what you do, the body positivity with the actual self-care, like the importance of that?
Yeah. So, how you view your body is so, so important, because not just what you're speaking, but it's what you're thinking about your body all day long has a huge effect. So I definitely focus on positive self-image. It could be hard because I'm not sure if people are really telling the truth if they're unhappy with their body, but then they're telling me that they truly love themselves.
Yeah.
And there's a difference because what you can't accept, you can't love fully.
Yeah.
So we have to accept ourselves. So for example, if you're going through a cancer battle, right? You have to accept this battle before we can begin to heal it. Because if you just don't look at it and you turn your head and nope, it's not happening, we can't heal it. We have to accept, how did I get here? How did I contribute, first of all?
Yeah, which that can be a hot button thing. I work with people around chronic issues when I do hypnotherapy, and it's that's, I feel like that's another conversation. Like, how much am I responsible for? Sometimes we don't want to face like who we've been.
We don't want to take acceptance, but healing is truly taking acceptance of everything I've either created, allowed, or accepted in my life.
Yeah.
And when we authentically and soulfully take responsibility for that, the universe is yours to have, because it's here to co-create with you and to heal you. But if you don't accept your part, you're going against the flow and you're not going with the flow.
Yeah. I agree. And I think it cuts off possibility for change. Like, they say we can only change ourselves. Even I think when it comes to, what is, the tears we refuse to shed cause our organs to weep, is a saying. And so even when it
Yeah.
comes to what's already shown up in our body, it's really important to understand that acceptance piece.
We have to fully accept, and our body is a chemical factory. I tell people your body is a chemical factory. So your brain, your mind is giving your brain images, and according to that image, your brain is releasing chemicals, hormones, neurotransmitters. So
Yeah.
when you are given an image that's loving and beautiful and it feels good, your brain is going to secrete that. If you're
Mm.
giving an image that's fear and war and all of these things, your brain is going to secrete that. So you're
Mm.
either going to be in fight or flight or rest, digest, and repair.
Yeah. Oh, I like
I
that.
choose rest, digest, and repair. I choose
Yeah, that sounds
that.
so much better.
It's a choice. It's a
Yeah.
choice. We have a choice. And this is stepping into that power. This
Yeah.
is stepping into that power. I have the power to heal. Every time we give our power away to a medical provider, where we don't research our issues, we don't take it upon ourselves to change, we are giving our power away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every time we refuse to take it upon ourselves to do something to help our situation.
Like relinquishing the responsibility.
Yeah.
Because I think we sometimes confuse responsibility for blame. Right? Like if I take responsibility for that my body is not in great condition, meaning, maybe some disease has shown up or something's going wrong or I have a lot of
Mhm.
inflammation. If I take responsibility for that, I think if I confuse responsibility and blame, I then have to go into blaming myself for what I ate, and I'm someone who, like I said, my relationship with food is something I've had to work on because I'm
Mhm.
someone that I blamed food for the longest time. Like, oh, the food industry and how bad it is. And, I ate that thing. And that's why I woke up this morning feeling the way that I did. And it was very hard to allow myself to fully take responsibility because I didn't want to blame myself. I wanted to keep it out there with food. Do you know what I mean? I wanted to keep
Oh,
the blame from something else.
that's the easiest thing to do, is to blame it, put the blame on someone else, to
Yeah.
project it, to
Yeah.
project it out, whether you're putting it on the food industry, you put it on the doctors, everybody else except self. And that's a part of self-mastery.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a part of self-mastery, is accepting everything that I am contributing. I also want to just say that we live in a universe that is ruled by universal principles. One of
Mm.
those laws is the law of cause and effect.
Mm.
For every cause, there's an effect, and we are creating it. So if I decide to put something in my mouth, that's me.
Yeah.
I have to take full responsibility for that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to.
Like, it's not like its effect is not something that just is happening to me. Like, I have to be able to, but I think that's that separating of blame and responsibility, right? So, like, if I'm in a like Diana is saying, we have to accept, give ourselves grace, and then take steps to improve. I love that because I think in order to do that process, we have to be able to say, I don't have to beat myself up. I don't have to, if I'm 5 pounds heavier on the scale, I don't have to go into some like how horrible I am story. I just got to accept responsibility for the fact that been eating like a pig. You know what I mean? Like, and that's
Yeah.
okay. Like, it's just that acceptance.
Yeah, and I think that's the difference, where it keeps you from spiraling into lower vibrations of like blame and guilt, right?
Yeah,
And it keeps you in those higher vibrations of love and acceptance.
yeah,
And that is the difference, because if I gain 5 pounds and I blame myself and now I'm guilty, my vibration comes down. I'm
yeah,
no longer in love and acceptance. I
yeah,
I ate the cake, I gained 5 pounds. All right, Janie, let's put your mind to it and let's do it. It's
yeah,
okay. But we
yeah,
have to take full responsibility for ourselves. And again, that is knowing your divine power,
yeah,
embodying it, and stepping into it.
yeah. Unconditionally, right?
unconditionally.
Hey sis, I know you. You want to attract a partner who genuinely loves you as a woman. You want to break generational cycles and experience the fulfilling romantic relationships that your mother and maybe even your grandmother didn't have. You want to learn how to release the pattern of navigating your love life through past hurts, trauma, and abandonment issues. So I've made this easy to consume, effective digital course just for you. It's called A Love Life That Loves You Back. I'm Candice Harper, a relationship coach and hypnotherapist, and I would love to help you create that love life. Just go to bit.ly/loving relationships for WOC. Can't wait to see you there.
Everything stems from us.
Yeah, I agree. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this question, because I feel like there's sort of a new movement in the diet industry or in the food industry and healthcare around intuitive eating, which I kind of really like, being someone who, has had dysfunctional eating. Like intuitive eating, how do you feel like that factors into the conversation as far
Oh,
as helping
I think that's how we should be eating. We should intuitively be eating. If
you?
you're thirsty, drink water. If
Yeah.
you are craving something, you might need to eat it because that might be a vitamin or mineral deficiency and your body's trying to tell you something. If you want to eat meat. But if you eat meat and then you're bloated, then maybe that's not what you need to eat. So it allows us, intuitive eating allows us to build that connection with our body. And we pay
Mm,
attention and we're listening. How does my tummy feel? You
yeah.
know, how does my heart feel? Do I have indigestion? You know, am I mucusy now since I've been eating, this dairy? Like
Mm.
it allows us to pay attention.
I love it. Now I want you to walk me through, Janie. So if I pick up your book, I'm in a place and, I pick up your book and I'm, trying to figure out this unconditional love thing. And maybe I come with a lot of trauma or guardedness or whatever. And I've been through all the struggles because I do think that when we're in that state, we suffer a lot of health problems as well. So that's why
Yeah.
I think what you do is so well married, right? But if I'm that person, what is the book telling me as far as like, the first sort of steps I need to take? What do I initially need to do?
All right. So capacity to love and awakening to unconditional love, it is teaching you who you are at the core.
Mm,
I have different chapters like what is love, what is capacity. Then I go into twin flame and all that, and then awakening and aligning with divine love.
mm,
What is capacity? That's actually the building and the stretching. That
mm,
is why we go through things on this earth. That is the trauma we had to overcome. That is that painful relationship that we had to endure. That is, all those hard things that stretches us and
mm,
builds our capacity to love.
yeah.
It's a catalyst. It's for you to see the love in yourself. But what people do, they see the fear, they see the
Mhm.
doubt, they blame, and they spiral into the lower emotions. But
Get
all of
guarded.
that is, yeah, all of that is to build you up. I
Yeah.
use the analogy that, a baby don't come out the womb eating solid food. The
Mm,
baby has to suckle on the breast, then the baby goes to soft food and then eventually to solid food. You are a soul that's evolving and
mm,
you're growing and you're stretching and you're learning lessons. And this dimension is giving you a reflection of how well you're doing on your tests. When you pass, you feel pretty good. But
yeah.
when there's a lesson that you're not getting, you're not learning it, it gets hard and you keep getting that lesson.
Yeah.
So you have to see this life again as a spirit, as a soul
Mhm.
evolving. And we're learning soul lessons. And so the book will take you through why you're having a hard time, but it's to bring you back to the remembering because it's not that we don't know who we are, we have forgotten
Yeah.
and we are in a very slumber state. So
Mhm.
awakening is awakening. It's like, okay, I'm remembering my DNA is coming back on board. I am love. I am spirit. I am one with source energy. I'm not
Yeah.
separate. I am one.
I love it. So what are practical steps to start to even see it that way? Because I work with clients a lot and, sometimes, I'll have consultation calls. And, sometimes those beliefs are embedded, right?
They are. They're definitely embedded.
Yeah.
You have to be at a point in your life that you have a strong desire to do better.
Yeah.
You have done it, you've been down that road, you're done with it, and you are ready for something new, because our desire is what that emotion will manifest things and take you onto another timeline.
Yeah.
So without a desire, nothing's going to happen.
Gotcha. It's like that desire for change.
You have to have that desire for change, and
Yeah.
it has to be authentic. You
Mm.
can't be like, yeah, I want love, but you do absolutely nothing to create that in your life.
Mm. Gotcha.
We attract who we are. So we
Mm.
have to become that vibration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then what are my steps? So I'm in this, like, I gotta change, like, rock bottom sort of place, and
So
actually allowing
yeah,
what.
so if you have this strong desire, like I'm ready, I want a very true unconditional love, a love that I could feel at the depths of my soul, because that's where I
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Then you have to surrender to what is being shown to you. Because
Mm.
everything that is not in alignment with unconditional love cannot stay.
Mhm.
So people, habits, places, jobs, all of it,
Yeah.
it cannot stay if it is not in alignment. So you will have to surrender to the process.
Yeah. Like letting go of careers that have paid well for a long time sometimes. Relationships that have just sort of like been, flatlining, things like that.
Exactly. You have to let go what is no longer serving you and that is not aligned with this vibration of true unconditional love. And I'm not saying that's easy, because it's hard. It could be very scary for people, because really sometimes you've built big illusions.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've built, and that's the ego, right? The ego builds these big illusions of who we think we are. And when
Yeah.
that starts to fall down, you're like, whoa, I'm not sure if I could do this. But keep surrendering, keep
Yeah.
trusting. And your higher self, which is your divine love, God self, is rising as that ego self is falling.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. I think too,
So that's
a lot of it has
surrendering.
to. The surrendering, yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with the attachments that we form, right? Because a lot of times I think when we're holding on to those things, I mean, besides the fact that it being the ego, it's the ego self, it's also feeling like there's not going to be anything else there. Like if I've identified myself as, Dr. So and so who achieved this, that, and the other thing in my family, and I do this and I do that, and I have all of these titles and I live in the right neighborhood and drive the right car. If I've made that my identity, it's like, when it does start to fall away because I'm shifting what's important to me, it's like there's going to be a space there for something new, right? Like I feel like that
Yes.
causes a lot. Yeah, a lot of the
You're
anxiety.
You're exactly right. And that is exactly what you have to be surrendered. You have to be okay with letting everything fall that no longer serves you, and the titles. And because is still not who we really are. It's
Mm,
These are things that we have done along the way, that we have picked up to help us to learn our lessons, right? But it's not who. Instances is things that we do to protect us too, like to
yeah,
put that
yeah,
covering in that wall, and that's not who we are.
yeah,
So yeah, so surrendering, and as you're surrendering, it is very tough because it's dusty. I mean, it's you're like, whoa, what's really happening? But
yeah,
keep going within, keep trusting, keep knowing that when it's all done, your higher, this is for you. It's not happening to you, right? It's happening for
mhm,
you. It is happening so that you could become a better and higher version of yourself.
mm. So as I'm reading the book, are you saying that just the opening, the awakening, and the willingness to receive what's in it is going to start that experience? Or are you saying that
So,
if I'm, go ahead.
so if you're open, because the book is a vibration. The book is a vibration. The book was written with channeled messages, downloads. So it's a whole vibration. In the welcoming, I say allow your heart to open, allow it to expand. Whatever you feel while you're reading the words in this book, allow that unfolding to happen. Again, you have to be ready for it. This is something that you have to be ready for it. And it's not, and I'm telling you, it's not the haphazard love that you just
We're used
want.
to.
That's selfish. That's selfish. That's that you have these voids to fill and
Yeah.
all of that. Although this love is gonna fill every darkness you have. I mean, to
Yeah.
the fullest extent and replenish you over and over and over again. And there's only one love that could do that, and that's the
Yeah.
divine love.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I think a lot of times and the reason that we, like I was talking about earlier, resist the idea of unconditional love. Oh, and
Mhm.
DJ saying, where can we get the book? We're going to say that in a second, DJ, so stick around. The reason that we often resist is because I think, once we have built up all of those walls and all that self-protection, we
Mhm.
forget to be faithful that it's the release, it's the surrender that actually is where the safety is, right? It's that willingness to I think you use the term flow, which I love that term. That willingness to flow that actually causes stability and safety
Mhm.
and being able to recognize if what's around you is for you. Because sometimes all the identity stuff, it's not necessarily that, you can't be a doctor anymore, you can't be a lawyer
Right.
anymore, whatever. It's that I've attached something within myself to it. And so if I've made it my identity, then it's something
Exactly.
different than what it's meant to be, right? It's not a tool.
Exactly. Exactly. Like I always use the term be open to everything and attached to nothing. Like it's
Yeah,
not that you can't be a doctor, is that this is a tool for you to use who you really are. You
yeah,
use this tool. Like if I don't use love and divinity in healthcare, then what am I really doing?
yeah, yeah. I mean, especially in healthcare, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Because yeah,
But
it's so
some
much.
people, they become doctors because their parents wanted them to become a doctor. Or
Yeah,
it pays a lot of money, or it's deemed in this society as, one of the things that is respected.
yeah,
So our intentions, like it's true, like it's not that you can't do it, is are you putting that attachment and that identity to it?
yeah. And I think
So
that's what people do in love relationships as well, which is why I think that our romantic relationships are the apex of everything. Because I think you and I were talking about how there are the mirrors of where we're at, right? Like where we're
yes.
at with ourselves. But I think we do the same thing when it comes to love relationships. Like we attach an identity to the person that we choose, and whether they're high value or high caliber, or they're bringing this to the table or bringing that to the table, and we make that mean so much about ourselves because we haven't done that self definition, that self acceptance. It's like somebody else said, "Oh, you got to." And I was in a relationship. For 13 years, and he was in med school, and it was all about, he's going to be a doctor, so I'm married right and all of that. Luckily it didn't work out because that's not the life that would have worked for me. Not being married to a doctor, but everything that went along. He was a great person, but everything that went along
Yeah.
with who he was, we weren't aligned, right?
Right.
And I
Exactly.
think I think exactly what you're talking about is not just the material things, but how we deal with other people as well. It's like either you align with the love I have or the acceptance I have for myself, and it's okay if you don't. When we say unconditionality, it doesn't mean I'm nice to you no matter what. It doesn't mean like I hold on to you no matter what, right?
Right. No, unconditional love, there's still boundaries, because then that is unconditional love for myself. I'm not going to allow anyone to abuse me. In the book, I use an analogy that my capacity could be as vast as the ocean, right?
Mhm.
How I love is as deep as the ocean, but the other person could be as deep as the neighborhood pond. That's not a match.
Subtle.
My ocean could totally drown you. And you could be giving me all you have, but that pond is not going to fill me up. So we have to know when it's just not a good alignment. And in love, we could say, hey, I wish you love. It's just not a good match. I wish you love. I wish you peace. And you let them go find what they need.
Yeah.
Anything can be said and done in love.
Yeah.
Anything.
I agree. But I
Anything.
wonder too, if we even like, I believe in communication, and I believe it's always good to be coming from a vulnerable place when it comes to relationships and about how we feel. But I also think that if our capacity is the size of an ocean, it's almost like they weed themselves out, those who are a puddle. Do you know what I mean? It's like they can't even be with it. Right. I think we sometimes think our capacity is as wide as an ocean because we're sacrificing ourselves for them. We're doing all these things for them. Like, I think that's why we resist unconditional love, because we think that it's about, I've given you everything, and, I've given you all the love, and we've loved in the way that we were taught to love, which was with approval and things and, you having your way. And then when they can't give that back, we want to say, oh, well, I have to go ahead and release you from my life because you don't have the ability to do that. But I want to make sure that we make a distinction, because even though I haven't read the book yet, I have a feeling you have it in the book, that capacity to love, like you said, it does come with the ability to be able to recognize that someone's out of alignment. But when they are, I think it's very rare that we actually have to do a whole lot of communicating around it. Like, I think when we're in integrity with ourselves, usually someone who's out of integrity or means us harm, there's no space for them to get in. Like, they can't. Do you know what I mean?
Agree. Oh, absolutely. And that's where the vibration falls in, because most people who are not on the same vibration as you almost repel. And I talk about it in the book, because love and fear cannot exist in the same space at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like having your foot on the gas and the brake at the same time. You're going to go nowhere. So if you have someone who is giving a fear-based love and you're giving an unconditional love, it's going to repel.
Yeah. Or a fear-based existence, because I don't even know that we could call it love, right?
You
Like,
can't. You
right?
can't. We create these fear-based situations, and then we withhold love because we're in fear. And then we recreate the same experience over and over again. And you just can't. You totally repel, and it's a difference, and you will feel it. Again, it's discerning, and I'm not saying it's easy to get here, because sometimes I think it's taken me many lifetimes to get here, right? It's taken me so many lifetimes, but you will totally repel, because the vibration cannot be in the same space at the same time.
Yeah. And I always encourage, I'm like, when we do repel, it's okay. Like, I think sometimes we're afraid, especially as women of color, sometimes we're afraid to put somebody off. We're afraid that if, how we've been and who we've been doesn't make someone admire us or like us, even, especially if we find attraction with somebody. I think sometimes we fear that so much that we'll often, compromise what is really true for us. And I know a lot of clients that I've worked with have, like, being able to just say, this doesn't work for what I'm up to. This is out of alignment with who I say I am. And let me just go back and get in alignment with who I say I am, rather than trying to make you understand or make you get in alignment with me.
Yeah. And I think staying in that alignment, especially as women, is where our power is. And when we stay in that alignment, guess what? The guys have to come up to that alignment.
Yeah. And the worthy ones do. The non-worthy ones don't. Like, or the ones that aren't ready, or are somebody else's.
That's okay. But what we shouldn't feel like we're too old, I better lower my standards, or it's time is ticking. No, stay in your alignment, because at the end of the day, you're learning your lessons and why you're here anyway as a soul. So whether you connect, with someone to help you learn those lessons, that's an added benefit. But
Yeah.
you're here to learn your lessons. Because when you go through your life review, you're answering to yourself. Did I
Yeah.
waste time trying to find love when that wasn't my lesson at the
Yeah.
time?
Yeah. 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 No, it's true. I love that. The answering to yourself. I think we forget that. Because
Yeah,
that's the most important, human to answer to,
that's it. That we
right?
are answering to ourselves. So
Yeah. I love this, Janie. I'm gonna have to read your book.
I think you'll like it.
Yeah. Oh no, I have no doubt at all. So what does it look like when we start applying it, these principles to our love life? And, what are some practical steps you say? Like, I always like to give people journal prompts and things like that. What are some practical steps that you like to give for people if they're just starting on this journey of, rock bottom with my body, rock bottom with my love life and my relationships, bottom with my health? I need to start really learning not the cliched version of loving myself, but really getting in soul connection with myself. I pick up your book, I'm reading it. What are some things that you're like, these are the practices that I want you to keep doing?
So my book will give you more practices as you awaken to divine unconditional love and how that feels and how it, as old energy die, new energy is coming in, and it could feel very chaotic. You'll be very sensitive to dark and fearful energies.
Mm,
You'll be looking at people and you will see them in a different way. You will
mm,
be able to see things that you didn't see before, because now you have a spiritual lens and you're seeing people differently. So it could feel very heavy. Energy could feel very heavy, and you could be up one day, down one day. But I tell people, give yourself grace
mm,
and keep loving yourself. This is a time where you give yourself more love. There's
mm,
something called dark night of the soul, where you come face to face with your own soul. So
mm,
if there was anything that you stuffed under the rug, if there was anything that you didn't heal, if there's anything that you keep running from, it comes
mm.
right here. Because you
Yeah.
cannot, that divine love cannot, you're purifying yourself. You're becoming a pure vessel. And the
Mm,
divine has to work through a pure vessel. So you have to purify those old energies and come face to face with it. And you can't run anymore. You're face to face with your own darkness.
yeah.
So
That,
some
and that,
people call that shadow work. Some people call that shadow work, because
yeah.
we look at the love, but we have to look at the shadow too.
Mm,
And the point is balancing. The point is balancing. Once you become into this divine love, you learn how to balance. And I talk about balance and harmony. I talk
mm,
about that. I talk about it. It takes time to harmonize, because when you have awakened to unconditional love in a world that's full of fear, it
mhm.
could be it could be very it could put you in a depression. It could
Yeah.
literally, I mean, because your entire illusion, the matrix, is falling and you
Yeah.
see every part of it.
Yeah.
And that could be very it could be detrimental for some people. You stay in love during this time. You
Mm,
ask your family, I'm going through a spiritual journey, I just need some space to myself.
mm,
You be honest with the people you're with. Let them
yeah.
know, I'm growing. I'm just, today's not a good day. You have to spend time with yourself. It's going to be very hard to go within and you're out doing everything. So you're going to have
Yeah.
to learn to say no. All these things that was taking up your time that really is not aligned with your purpose.
Mhm.
You're gonna attract your tribe. Like I say, you're gonna attract those people. I just want people to know that it's a journey, it's a process. It
Yeah.
happens over time, but this is happening more and more because we are awakening as a whole body of humanity right now. And this book is to help you get through it. Is to help you get through that process, that darkness, that dark night of the soul, to keep loving yourself through it, even though you see all these things, to allow it to come up, allow those emotions to come up, you
Yeah.
know, to just get through it and to get into balance and harmony.
Absolutely. Janie, I feel like I could talk to you all day about this stuff because this is like one of my favorite topics.
Yeah. I mean, I could talk about it all day. It's
Right?
in so many ways because what I have learned is that love travels all pathways.
Yeah.
It goes everywhere. It goes through relationships, it goes through our body, it goes through our mental, our emotional, spiritual. It travels everywhere
Yeah.
because it's the one energy that's here.
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
one energy that connects us all. So
It is. It is the one. It is the source. It is the unit. It is everything.
it
The
is
alpha,
the
the
one.
omega, the beginning and the ending.
It is the one. That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, I
Yeah.
just love you, Janie. So DJ was asking earlier where we can get the book. So you have the book, right? Are you going to show us the book?
Yeah, so this is the cover, right? Capacity to Love. And it's co-authored actually with Russell Bruce, who is my twin flame. And I talk about that in the book. And coming into union with your twin flame requires a level of self-mastery and a level of divine love so that you could actually, because the relationship is magnetic, is strong, is intense. And if you're not there, it could be very toxic if you haven't done the work, if you haven't healed yourself and done the work. But you could get it on Amazon. You could go to my website, nphired.com. I have it in digital, but you could get it in hard copy off Amazon or paperback as well. So, and also there's some reflection questions in the back. I give the universal principles in the back. I talk about the two forces that in this dimension, which is masculine and feminine, that is in everything. And the more we can align with universal law, the more we manifest correctly all the time. All the
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Gotcha. I love it. All
Yeah.
right. Well, Janie, definitely, I want people to go and get your book. I got to get your book and check it out. And there's a question that I ask all of my guests to give
Yeah.
them an opportunity to really, leave something of themselves with the listening audience. So what is your favorite thing about being a Black woman, a woman of color?
That's a beautiful question. I would say my soul,
Mm,
my creativity, how deep my love goes, my spirit.
yeah.
That's what empowers me as a Black woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Oh, yay, Janie. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come back, my sweetheart. Maybe you'll bring Russell, or when you come back, we're gonna talk about your twin flame, you and Russell.
Yeah, that's a whole
Now,
nother rabbit hole.
right? That's a whole nother show, honey.
That's a whole nother
So,
show.
I know you have the book. Do you work with clients? Do you have a group program? Like, how do you want people to find you as far as working with you and really getting into?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, I'm a family nurse practitioner. So I am certified in obesity treatment in primary care and also functional nutrition. So I definitely do coaching on every level. So physically, mentally, and spiritually. So of course, weight management, that's definitely explains it. But I am a transformational coach. So again, it is going from A to B and helping you transition and transform because a lot of people get stuck. We know that there's these things that we want to do, but we don't know how to. So I do go beneath the surface and we tackle some of those, limiting beliefs and those programmings and things that you might have taken up in childhood that is not serving you right now. So,
Mm.
yeah. And you could reach me. I'm on social media. I do answer inbox there. Nurse practitioner _hired on Instagram. But my website, you could go there and get everything. nphired.com.
Got it. And when I do the edits, I'm going to make sure to put that on the screen so people can see it and in the notes. So if you're listening, wherever you're listening or watching, it's going to be in the show notes if you want to get in touch with Janie.
Yeah.
And I think that's it, my sweetheart. I appreciate you so
Awesome.
much for coming on, for
Yeah,
being here.
it's a pleasure. I'm grateful. I love talking about love and I love I think spreading this energy that all of us have to awaken to. I don't think we would see so much war and the things that's happening, right now on the physical plane, if we knew who we were, if we could come back to the remembering of who we are, because fear also tells us that we're in lack and there's not enough.
Yeah.
And we have to
Causes
take from other
competition.
people and there's competition. But love tells us that there's infinite possibilities, that we could collaborate, and that, everyone can win. So
Right. And that there's enough for everyone. There's nothing
there's
lacking
enough.
except
There's
for what
no
we cause.
Yeah, there's no scarcity.
Yeah.
It's infinite.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Thank you, my sweetheart. It was great to meet you. Welcome to the podcast family.
Thank
And, I wish you well. As the DJ says, thank you, and left all kinds of hearts.
you.
Those of you who joined us during the show and are still with us during this, thank you for being here. Thank you for interacting. If anything came up for you, if you have any questions, definitely, whether you're on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, leave them for us because we will come back and check. I'll make sure Janie has all the links she needs to have. So if she needs to answer a question, if you want to learn more about working with her, you definitely can get in touch. Like I said, her information will be in the show notes. Also, don't forget to stop by my website soon. I want to put out a question to the audience. Let me know when you're listening. So I have an ebook and I want to put it out. Now, I've been calling it 7 Days to Freedom from Single Girl Shame, but I think I might shift it to 7 Days to Freedom from Showing Up Single, because I think that's where we have a shame story around showing up single. A lot of clients talk to me about going to events, family things, and they're single and, going on vacation with the family, and you got to sleep in the auntie bed with one of the nephews and the nieces or whatever. So I want to put out a free ebook just to help alleviate and release that shame, because that shame does not serve us. Like we just had a whole long conversation about the importance of being unconditional with myself, no matter my relationship status. But you guys let me know which title speaks to you more, what you think about that. And that's it. That's all we got for this week. But we'll come back next week with more. Janie's going to come back on the show at some point so she can tell us about twin flames. Until next time, keep being unapologetically lovable. And please, by all means, my sweetheart, give yourself grace. All right. Bye now. Bye.